No more fucking around. It's Wild Style Radio. Wild Style Radio.
What is up? It's Wednesday night, and this is the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show with Wisk and Kev. We're coming to you live from Salisbury Center Studios in Manassas, Virginia, on the Wild Style Network. What's up, dude?
Man, we have a great night. We haven't been here, first of all, for a little while.
No, it's been
nearly a month.
Yes.
Because we've been kind of traversing all around to great places and seeing, you're saying live tonight, live rock and roll.
Live rock and roll.
Left and right.
Lots of shows that we've been going to this month of May.
And we have more coming.
We do.
Into June, which brings us to our guest.
Yes.
Our esteemed guest of the evening for a show that we're very excited for. Zach Bolling. It's Bolling, correct?
It's bowling, like going bowling,
like the sport. Yeah. All right. So I'm very sorry about that. So I'm glad I asked.
Oh, you're good, man.
Yeah. So joining us is Zach Bolling, is the drummer in the band, the Native Howl.
Correct.
They're coming June 17th to the Tally Ho in Leesburg, Virginia, and also June 7th, not too far away from us here. We'll also be playing at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, Maryland. So. Yeah. Welcome to the show, Zach. Thanks for joining us on the Wild Style Network. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's going great. We're just gearing up, getting ready. What do we got? Like 2-ish weeks now, I think, until the run starts on the 5th here at home. So
sure.
We're just hammering away, man, and trying to get all our ducks in a row before we skip town for a month.
So when you say here at home, where are you talking to us from?
I'm in Shelby Township, Michigan. The band we're based out of Leonard, Michigan. We've got a studio out there that we rehearse at, record a bunch of demos at. So just about a half hour north of Detroit.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. And yeah. I will say that we've been fans. There's a lot I feel like we can talk about in terms of our history, in terms of getting into the Native Howl and being exposed to the Native Howl. Just an excellent band, excellent live show. We first met you guys, not this New Year's, but the New Year's prior, going into 2024. We were talking about a little bit of this as we were setting up this show up at the Ram's Head, what used to be the Ram's Head in Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah. And we were really anxious to get you here at the Salisbury Center in Manassas. So, you're probably going to hear us nagging you about that time and time again, just to warn you.
Oh, man, we're happy to do it anytime.
Absolutely. Like Kevin and I, like I said, big fans, and we'll be thrilled. And I know that there's a lot of people listening that were excited to hear you, hear this interview too. So,
sure.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so we've been, doing some advertising for this interview coming up, and, put out some videos. I think the Tally Ho maybe did a little promo video for your show, and it's got a clip of Alice Cooper from when you guys were on No Cover talking about thrash grass. And so we're familiar with your all sound and a little bit about your background, but for our audience, tell us a little bit about the band, bring us up to speed history-wise, and what is thrash grass?
Yeah, so, this is before I joined. God, I think it was like 2012 or something. Jake and Alex, banjo player and our frontman guitar player, those two got together. Jake wanted to record some stuff, and Alex has that studio in Leonard. So they were going to get together and do that. Ultimately, they put together a lineup. Our friend Josh was playing drums before myself, and our friend Dave was playing bass before Chandler. Dave stepped out, Chan joined. Josh stepped out. I joined in 2019. We've all known each other since we were, God, I don't know, like 15 years old or something, and now we're all in our mid-30s. Mm-hmm. So 2015 rolls around, and Alex had gone to Wheatland, a music festival here in Michigan, and kind of realized that thrash and bluegrass have similar elements, speed and precision, melodicism, and aggression, kind of. And it helps that we're all primarily metalheads. So it seemed like a no-brainer, I guess, to just add a banjo to basically an acoustic metal band, and bada bing, bada boom, here we are.
Excellent. And that, yeah. I think that's one of the bigger things that we come across when we describe the Native Howl and we describe thrash grass. And then the next question that we get back, what exactly is thrash grass? Do you feel that you guys are the leader in that style? That really were the originators of coming up with that style?
I'm sure that there's other bands that have done similar stuff. So I don't want to say that I feel like we're like the top dogs or whatever. I'm just not familiar with maybe bands that have done a similar thing before us. So, and I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I don't really listen to any bluegrass, so I wouldn't know of any heavier bluegrass bands because I'm always getting sucked right back into like Pantera and Van Halen and stuff, and that's just kind of where I live all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, you mentioned Pantera, Van Halen. So talk a little bit about your background, what your influences were, what kind of led you. I know we talked about before we went on the air that you also play guitar. So you know what inspires you musically.
Well, when I started, I guess I kind of always grew up with music. My mom and dad always had like Guns N' Roses or Ted Nugent, or Aerosmith, anything kind of playing throughout the house, and I started to really love that. And then at some point, I forget what year, it was maybe early 2000s, Kiss played the Super Bowl, and I saw that, and I was like blown away. You know, got all these cheerleaders in the Kiss makeup dancing all around, shit blowing up. I'm like, I got to do that, man. And then I discovered Van Halen, and my head exploded. Started jamming with my uncle when I was a kid, and he started turning me into like Metallica and Maiden and Megadeth, and it just kept spiraling from there. So I'm primarily a guitar player, even though I play drums in the band, and it just kind of happened to work out because Jan and I have another project. It's more like just thrash, kind of old school metal. And when everyone started moving away for college and whatnot, I more so just jumped behind the kit because the drums were mine to begin with, but also out of necessity in needing a drummer. And so then I guess it was really like more so late 2018. Chan called me up to see if I would fill in for a tour for the guys, and of course I wasn't going to say no, because they're my friends and I knew they needed some help. And then that kind of relatively quickly turned into them just asking if I'd be down to play drums full time. And it's fun, man. I mean, just touring in general it's awesome, and it's, I mean, a blessing that I'm even able to do it with people that I've known for as long as I have, and yeah, it's just the best.
That is the most amazing piece to me, like in this whole conversation. And I did not know that you made this transition from guitar to drums until we started talking before this interview, and I just can't believe it, because I have to say, for people that have never seen the Native Howl, one of the things that we noticed is that all four of you are just unbelievably excellent musicians. And so
thank you.
I can't imagine like having that transition be an easy, was that an easy transition for you to move into percussion?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started playing guitar when I was like 9, and I got my own kit. I was playing my uncle's drums before that, but like seriously started learning drums when I was like 13 or so.
Okay.
And I would have been, well, shit, it would have been 6 years ago. So I would have been like 26 when they asked if I joined. So I guess I had a good amount of time behind the kit kind of already there. Not like one of those super shredder dudes by any means, like some gospel players can just, I mean, I'll never be able to do what some drummers can do, but I can do enough for the Howl.
You are very humble. I will describe it that, because I will say that you are an excellent percussionist, and I can't undersell you that way. So if anybody goes to a live show, you're going to see one hell of a group of players playing that day.
Absolutely. The precision that you guys have and the timing, and we'll want to get into a little bit into no cover, but I think I remember one of the judges asked, like, do you guys play to a click track? Because you guys are so in sync.
Yeah.
And it kind of blew them away when you guys were like, no, we don't do that. So
that we'll do it in studio, but for live stuff, no, none of that, no backing tracks or anything, unless it's like something in between songs to, you know, fill the space. But if we're playing, there's no extra shit going on in the background, because that's just not something we're into.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, the important question that we need to get out to now that, you know, talking about your thrash roots, are you Megadeth or Metallica?
Oh, dude. If I was still in high school, I would have said Megadeth, just because I know more people would have said Metallica. I think obviously this is kind of an obvious one. Over the course of their career, I think Megadeth has been more consistent. with maybe the exception of like Risk and Super Collider. Whereas Metallica, you know, they have like periods. I love all of Metallica. Every Metallica album rips aside from Lulu. I hate that record. Nothing against Lou Reed, but yeah. God, it's so hard to pick, man. I love them both too much.
Yeah, I fall in the Dave Mustaine camp. I love him, but I love both bands. I say I'm more of a Megadeth fan, but I'm not going to not choose one over the other because they're both great bands. Show. Yes,
we've just
or multiple ones actually.
Exactly.
So yeah,
totally. Yeah, oh, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, go ahead. I was going to cut to another question, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say it's too hard for me to choose, man. Like I remember in high school, one of my best friends and I don't know why we did this, but we just went around making people that had no business talking about Metallica or Megadeth because they don't know choose which one they liked more. And I ended up winning. So I don't know how, but I got more people to sign up for Megadeth than he did for Metallica.
That's awesome.
Now we're talking metal. We're obviously all metalheads. You know, that's obvious. Obviously, the name of the show, the Stand Up and Shout Rock Show. But are you finding with the blend of bluegrass that you bring into metal? And I can't say enough. If you have not heard this band, I promise you that it works, and it works unbelievably well. It's amazing how well it works. Are you getting bluegrass fans showing up to shows? Yeah,
we get a lot of people that come up and you know, they'll mention certain bands like the Steel Drivers or whoever else really. And thankfully we usually have like Jake or Alex there because they're more familiar with that kind of stuff. But yeah, we get plenty of bluegrass people that will come up and mention how they're a big fan of bluegrass and didn't expect to see what we did. Which is also kind of interesting because especially the past few years, we've, you know, primarily opened up like rock and metal tours. So those bluegrass fans are already going out to, you know, probably see like Zakk Wylde or Clutch or whoever else we may have been with. Or maybe they're coming to see us too. Who knows? I hope they are.
Yeah. So obviously Sons of Destruction is the new release, and that's the tour, is the album release tour. And I believe that spun out of No Cover. So talk to the folks that may not be familiar with your all's experience on No Cover, a little bit about that and how that kind of, I think, helped really spur you guys out into a larger audience.
Yeah. So that all kind of started, our friend, I think it was our friend Mark, saw that the competition was even a thing and that we should apply. I think you had to throw like $50 or $100, something like that.
Yep.
Like just to kind of like get your name in the hat.
Yep.
And it took forever, man. I think like 700 or 800 bands ended up applying, and it took so long for them to figure, I guess, out what they wanted to do that I honestly completely forgot that we even did it. And however much time goes by, and my mom called me, and she's like, you know, hey, you're gonna find out if you made it in like a day or two. And I had no fucking idea what she was talking about. I was just like, yeah, all right, cool, thanks, Mom. And then our friend Matt, who was tour managing for us, got in touch with us that day and is like, hey guys, you need to be on a Zoom call in 20 minutes. Please don't be late. Ended up being us, the guys, Ash from Sumerian and Josh from Hit Parader. And they had sent out rejection emails to everybody. So they were kind of pulling a fast one, telling us we didn't make it. They were going to go another direction. Then they told us we made it. So we go, you know, it's like this TV production. So it's not something that we're really used to. And we get to play the first tune. We chose Thunderhead for the first one. And I don't know why we thought it was going to be this way, or at least maybe I did. I assumed like if we made it through round one, we'd be back the next day to shoot for round two. And it wasn't like that. They put us up in a hotel for like a week. So the guys and I would twice a day, I'd be sitting there tapping my feet and drumming on a pillow, and we'd run the songs that we wanted to do. And it was just really cool, man. Like bumping into Alice Cooper and now having worked with Lzzy in that video. Lizzy's a total sweetheart, and so is Alice.
Yeah.
It was cool. And then we get to talk about just Michigan shit with Alice. That was really just kind of surreal.
Yeah. I'll backtrack a little bit, for the people, and John's throwing up some video of the Native Howl there on No Cover. So to backtrack as that's playing, No Cover is a television show, and it was really designed for streaming. It was produced by Hit Parader, the old Hit Parader magazine that Kevin and I used to read like religiously. Steal
from the grocery store and bring it to pass them out.
Yeah, and I don't know how you feel about this, Zach, but I've always been a little bit put off by American Idol and The Voice, and they're a bit, to me, they're karaoke-esque, and some people will deny that it's a karaoke contest. Some people say it's a glorified, karaoke contest. It feels like karaoke to me because they're only singing covers, which you can go into any restaurant that provides karaoke and see. But with No Cover, as the title says, it has to be all original music, and all original music by up-and-coming bands. And you guys were playing rock and roll. There was a little bit of pop on there too. And to be very well-qualified judges, Lzzy Hale from Hailstorm, you're mentioning her, Alice Cooper, Gavin Rosdale from Bush, Tosin Abasi from Animals as Leaders, which that's a bit of a fringe band that some people may or may not know. But of course, he's a beast guitarist. And there was, who was it was the pop artist. Bishop Briggs. Yes, yeah, Bishop Briggs, yeah. So very well-qualified judges, and so it was very exciting to see a band of your caliber on this type of show. So it's very easy to watch. You don't have to have a particular streaming service to go watch it. So I'm putting in a plug to go see the Native Howl on this show, also called No Cover. Just do a YouTube search for it, and you'll be able to see. I almost said YouTube search for it, and you can see everything. So,
yeah, they've got the original trailer and then all the episodes all the way through. So it's very cool, but I want to pull back a little bit on that because you mentioned they put you up in a hotel. So I've always kind of been curious, when you watch these reality type shows where they kind of cut in and cut out and, wondered, so was it 2 weeks? Was it a week? How long were you guys actually in LA in between the different segments?
I think all of it was probably about a week and a half, maybe just shy of 2 weeks it took for everything. Yeah, it was mainly just getting through round one because they had, I want to say, bands. Yeah, they were doing like 5 bands a day. And then they had a mercy round. So if you didn't, or I think it was, that's when it happened. If you got kicked out at some point, they gave you that mercy round. And our friends in the night spins, which it was kind of funny because we didn't know ever like who was playing on the same days as us. And at some point we realized that they played round one with us, and we were thankful to be able to take that one home. And then they made it all the way through the mercy round and through the rest of the show. So in the finale, it's like we got to meet back up with their buddies that we met on day one. It's like, oh, hey, we're all going to play together again. Right on. It was cool.
And then it looked like it was the amps and the drum kit looked like was the same for everybody. So I assume there was some in between setup, where the bands would come in and come out if they did 5 in a day for those first episodes. How long?
I brought, they were actually pretty damn quick. I think you had to submit what gear it was that you used, or if there were specific things you'd bring your own. Like I brought my own kick pedals and all that, and they had kind of an array of cymbals that you could choose from. Speaking drums only, really. I think we didn't bring our amps. Anyway, yeah, I just chose whatever cymbals I liked. And actually the first 2 rounds, I thought the kit was supposed to have 2 rack toms and a floor tom, and there was only 1 rack. So it's like, oh, well, I guess it is what it is, man. I'm going to play with 1. And in the final round, I saw it just like sitting on some stairs side stage at the Troubadour. And it's like, can I use that this time? I was finally able to use a setup I was truly used to.
Yeah.
And were you allowed to bring your own snare, or you just played what they had?
You could bring you could bring as much or as little as you wanted. There's another band. Oh God, I wish I remembered their name, but I can't. Anyway, he brought like a whole entire DW kit, and they're from Detroit, so it's like, dang, they must have driven or been on tour or something, because I only brought sticks and my pedals and called it a day.
I did see, like I looked up, just kind of the status of No Cover right now, and they are doing a second season of it, and there is an application process. And I think everything you're speaking to, maybe, I don't know, maybe they've tightened up the rules a little bit, but it appeared that there was only a 5-piece kit that drummers were allowed to play. And I don't know, did that throw you off any in competition? Did you like having to play set equipment or?
No, not really. I kind of lucked out. Like all the sizes, I mean, not that it really mattered, I guess, but all the sizes for the drums were what I use anyhow. Actually, the whole configuration, once I got that second rack tom in, was the exact setup that I use at home. But I always kind of like the challenge a little bit of slightly changing the setup of a kit. Whether it be 2 floor toms or 1 rack tom, or just 1 and 1. Like it kind of makes you just think a little differently on what you can do to get by with a certain part.
Sure.
I remember my first show with the Howl back in 2019. It ended up being that it was some festival called Ellopalooza here at home, like 15 minutes away from our studio. Actually, we used the house kit more or less. It was part of the production company, I think, that puts it all on. And I hadn't played drums live at that point in like 6 years or so. And we get up there, and I knew Alex was a little stressed out because I was like, yeah, dude, whatever. I'm playing this kit today. And it's completely different from my kit. And it all went totally fine. I don't know. It's fun for me to change stuff up like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so also just something I observed in No Cover, and this is as just an audience member watching the show, right? And I don't know this is true, so I'm interested to hear your take. It seemed like, getting to thrash grass and explaining that style and what thrash grass is and whether or not it should be taken seriously, right? It seemed when I was watching, Alice Cooper and Lzzy Hale gravitated to you guys right out of the gate. They loved you all, like that's what it appeared. And then there was some hesitancy with the other judges, especially with Tosin Abasi. It seemed like he was the one that felt like, I remember him, he used either the word campy or shtick, when he was describing that sound at first. And then you won them over. Do you feel that happened? And I feel that if that could happen to him, it could happen to anybody watching one of your live shows.
Yeah, I totally did. We all did feel that way. And we went back and forth on like what tunes to play and what ones to maybe not play. And personally, at least, I was a little surprised that that Pappy was the one that seemed to have finally won, I think, kind of both of them over, because there's a lot of changes, but it's especially for Tosin being such a, prog master.
Yeah.
I thought Something Else, the song, would have been the one that kind of did it for him, because there's a capo switch that the guys do as they're singing 3-part harmonies before we kick back in, and just as many changes. But something about that one is the one that really worked out. And it did also feel like Alice and Lzzy were super receptive right off the bat, to the point where the first day after we played Thunderhead, you get all your shit, and then you're back out in the alley at the Troubadour, and Alice came out and just kind of followed us, and that's when he first was hanging out and talking, and some of the producers of the show were trying to kind of wrangle him back in because the next band was already ready, and we weren't sure if, like, I know it wasn't that he ignored them. I'm sure he just didn't hear them because Alice is such a great guy. But it almost was like, did he just completely bypass what they tried to tell him? And they had to physically, like, touch his shoulder, like, hey, Alice, we got to go. And he's all like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. It was really cool.
So, and I had forgotten about, it had been a little while since I had watched No Cover. And then obviously, you guys won the whole competition.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
You just gave the spoiler.
Well, I think it's out there. But, then you guys released the single for Mercy with Lzzy. So I assume that all kind of percolated out of being on the show. But talk a little bit about how, because you guys performed that song in the competition. And when you went to, I guess, record it for the new album, or it released as a single before the album came out, how did that develop and marinate into Lzzy coming in to collaborate with y'all?
Well, it's this version anyhow. We actually re-recorded. The song is on Out of the Garden and Into the Darkness, a previous album, and there's a lot of female vocals on there. And after we had met Lzzy and were able to stay in contact with her after the show, we just kind of threw it out there that we wanted to see if it was a possibility if she would sing on it and kind of do like a duet with Alex and maybe even play guitar. Obviously ended up she just ended up singing. And so, yeah, we went out to LA and were fortunate enough to be able to record all of Sons at Studio 606, Dave Grohl's place, and recorded that. And Lzzy was on tour at the time. It was funny. She'd send us updates and she'd be like in an arena somewhere with like a mobile recording setup. And she'd then send her vocals over to Jay Rustin, who produced the album with us. And Jay would do his thing, get it all in the song. And yeah, she's awesome, man. Like I said, been able to stay in touch, and whenever she's in town, we try to go out and hang. And that day when we got to shoot the video, it was just fun, just hanging out and just bullshitting about everything. And then obviously having to film the same. Well, God, I had to play that song like 50 times that day or something. So thankfully, it's not a fast one.
So you obviously there's a collaboration with the great Lzzy Hale. Was there any other acts that you met either in No Cover or in that experience that you've really just collaborated with then also, or has been an influence on you since?
From the show, we stayed in touch a little bit for a while with the Night Spin guys. And, but as far as I'm trying to think anything really else coming from the show, we definitely got more tour offers from being on the show, whether it be go out with Zach. We got to go out with Black Label Society first and then Zach Sabbath, and got to go out with Clutch a few times. And it all just kind of winning the show, I think, helped solidify the decision for the agent that we currently have to take us on onto his roster and push us onto tours with other bands. So I think that's mainly where it truly came from, is spending time with other bands on the road. There's a band called, one of the bands in particular that we really got along well with and enjoyed hanging with. They're called Orbit Culture. They're from Sweden, heavy as hell, and just the nicest, funniest dudes. And we had a lot of like behind the venue hangs. We're just hanging out, drinking beers, and having a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this tour is getting ready to kick off. Talk a little bit about the Sons of Destruction album release tour. How long, and is it more regionalized, or are you guys going all across the U.S.? Just talk a little bit about what's coming up.
So this one, we're starting it at home, and then it's 20 shows this run, and then we're ending it. It's technically 21. We're ending it at Summer Bash in Indiana, Summer Bash, Indiana. And it's a festival a little after the tour. But anyhow, starting at home, making our way down the East Coast. I think we make it to Florida, play a show or two there, and then we turn around and start hitting some more Midwestern states, playing the whole new album, and all the classics that people expect us to play. And trying to up the old stage show. So we got a few new toys that we're going to bust out and play with. And it'll be a good time, man. We're excited to be able to not really feel like we have to choose certain songs to fit in a time frame. We can just just play whatever we feel like playing.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to experiencing you all with a larger set, some more time. Obviously, the first time we saw you, you guys were in a support role, so it was a shorter set.
And it'll be nice. We're always like, it's funny with those support slots, as every band probably feels, but it's like you play and the next thing you know, you're already on your fifth or sixth song, and it's like you just starting to feel like you're warm and like ready to rip, and it's like, oh shit, we're done. And now I gotta haul ass and get all my shit off stage as fast as I can.
We were having conversation about that before this started to air live, so I got to throw back to that, because we say, and we've said it to you, Zach, that like a lot of times our good conversation happens off air, and that kind of happened before we started talking. So like, you got to share what happened when we saw you up in Baltimore that New Year's of 2024 with Zach Wylde when you were open for Zach Sabbath.
Yeah, so we're on the tour with Zach. It's like a 2-month long tour, and we played, I want to say like Houston in Texas. We go to whatever hotel and wake up in the morning. We're all getting breakfast, getting ready to leave. And Jake put a message in Slack, what we all use to communicate. he just goes, "We've been hijacked," and I'm like, "Oh fuck! Did somebody steal the van? Like we're in Texas right now, dude." Come to find out, they had cut the arms on our trailer and stole like 30 grand worth of gear. Unfortunately, we had air tags hidden in multiple cases, and they, inevitably grabbed something with an air tag in it. So we tracked these guys like all morning and into the afternoon, calling the cops over and over. And finally, the air tags stopped moving, and the battery was low. So we're like, the battery is either dead and we're just screwed, or it actually stopped. So we called the cops again. Turns out it was at an impound yard, and the cops knew that from the address, I guess. So we go there, wait for the cops to show up, and we could see a blue Dodge Ram with a bunch of cases and shit like over this fence. So the cops, they get there, and sure enough, all of our stuff's still in the truck. The guys who did it had stolen the truck as well. And we get all our stuff, just haul ass to the next to that day or night's show in Arizona. And it was a beautiful venue. We were bummed we couldn't play it, but we still made it and wanted to go hang. And we go side stage, and Zach comes up. I forget what song he had been playing, gives us all a hug. And he's like, "I thought I was going to have to buy you guys all new shit." And we just assume that he's cracking jokes, because he's always cracking jokes and just living it up. And there's the picture of us with the cops.
Nice find.
So that was quick. So I just assumed he was kidding. And then Phil, Zach's head of security, who's an awesome dude, turns around, and Phil doesn't mess around. And he's like, "Oh no, Zach was going to buy you guys. He was going to buy you guys new gear." And it's like, holy shit. When Phil said it, that's when I was like, I don't think he's kidding, man.
Damn.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
I am thankful. Not only I'm thankful that Zach didn't choose to spend all that money, but a lot of the stuff that was taken was like our first artist ordered instruments. We lost some banjos, Chan's basses. None of the drums were taken, but I have like a giant rolling chest that shit's all stacked on, so that would have probably taken them too long. But still, it was all sentimental gear, so we really, really wanted to get that back, and thank God we did.
Yeah. The great Zach Wylde, right? Just another great story about that guy.
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild. But I've looked up to him since I was, I don't even know, man, like 7 or 8 years old when I came across Ozzy, and just come to find out he is just as great of a human as people portray him to be.
Sure thing.
So I assume we'll be able to expect to hear "Harvester of Constant Sorrow" is on the set list.
Yep, that one it's always on there, because it's funny. Every time we play and go to merch, it's like a guarantee somebody's going to come up and say something about that song. So to take it out of the set, we always feel like it's not the right thing to do.
And is there any chance, now I'm curious, that you were going to play guitar at any point during these tour dates?
Not on this run, I don't think, but we have talked about that, because like Alex can play drums. So we've talked about finding the right song to where we can kind of switch. He'll hop behind the kit, I'll go grab his guitar. It's funny, like even back in the day before I was in the band, we're all still hanging out, and I'd go to shows that the guys are playing and just hang. And Alex, usually at the end of Thunderhead, he'd end up just taking his guitar off and just like giving it to me in the crowd anyhow, and I'd just sit there and rip through whatever pentatonic bullshit that came out in the moment. We definitely love to do that at some point, and we've got demos right now that I've popped solos on, Chan's popped solos on, because we're all primarily guitar players that have veered off to form what the Native Howl now is.
I love it. I love it.
So it'd be a little bit like a Taylor Hawkins, Dave Grohl deal.
Exactly.
Or they would do that on occasion at shows. That would be cool.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, I can't undersell the live experience of you guys enough. And if you're unsure, if you're not 100% sure, go watch No Cover on YouTube, and you'll see all the reasons why you got to get to this tour and see these live shows.
Absolutely. And so when this wraps up, middle of July, what are there plans? You guys going back in the studio? I know the album's kind of fresh, so maybe not, but something else coming down the pike.
At the moment, we just doing this tour. We've got like 3 festival dates. Summer Bash. There's one in Chelsea, Michigan, and the other one, Palooza here in Lake Orion, Michigan. We're doing those. We've got a ton of ideas. So once we get back from this next run, it'll be time to really start honing in the next batch of ideas, choose another 10 or 11 songs that we all feel strongly about, and just make them as good as we can, and then see what comes of those ones.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Any invitations to bluegrass festivals or bluegrass collaborations? I'm just curious, like on the other end of what you guys do.
Yeah, most of it lately, our agency, I guess I should say, is primarily rock and metal. So most of what we've been doing for a little while has always kind of revolved around that. But we do, and we have talked about it quite a few times, we'd love to get into like, the bluegrass kind of, I guess, almost country-ish scene, and just be, I guess, maybe one of the heavier bands that is on one of those types of festivals.
Right.
And that'd be a lot of fun, but it has yet to really happen.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, and we were only kind of half joking early when we started the interview, but next time you guys are putting some stuff together, we'd love to get you here to the Salisbury Center. It's a great venue. Trying to get some more acts coming through and supporting live music. And, we talk quite often on our show about new music, new rock bands, and the Howl has been one of the bands we talk about quite a bit. But when we talk to other musicians, obviously you talked about Pantera and some of the influences you have, but are there other new rock acts that you're into that you're listening to right now?
I guess they're maybe not totally new, but bands like Power Trip, I fucking love. I just recently came across a band called Frost Coffin from Texas, Coffin with a K, and they have, it's Apple Music calls it a single, but there's 3 songs involved with it. It's a kind of a small EP called Life's Game, and man, that thing just kicks your teeth in. Like it's so badass. The other day, I was just sitting around my place hanging out, and I probably let those 3 songs just roll for like 3 hours, just over and over, and I couldn't get enough of it, man.
Yeah, nice,
cool.
All right, well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us, and we're looking forward to your upcoming shows here in the Northern Virginia and Maryland area.
Yep.
And
looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to announce those dates again, Kevin?
Yeah. So June the 7th,
yes,
that's Saturday night. There will be at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, Maryland. And then on a Tuesday night, June 17th, Tally Ho in Leesburg, Virginia. We got all the dates currently up on the screen. And so the Tejon Street Corner Thieves, they're doing the whole run with you guys?
Yep, those guys are going to be on the whole thing, playing before us, and there'll be local bands on each stop as well. I think 1 to 2 per city are getting pulled in. But yeah, otherwise, it'll be us in those old street corner thieves just cruising around the East Coast, man.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Totally looking forward to it, and safe travels, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Absolutely.
Right on.
Yes. Thank you so much for
Appreciate
joining
it,
us
guys.
tonight.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me.
All right.
All right.
So I guess that's going to wrap us up for tonight. We'll see you soon.
On the Wild Style Network.
Yes.
John wasn't ready.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for you guys just to cold out like that. I thought we were like say a couple things afterwards, but no, that's it, I guess.
Cool.
All right, see y'all next time.
Cheers.
Thanks again, Zach.
That was funny.